Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. I do apologize that this is about 30 minutes late. I set it at 1 a.m. because I had no idea how late this game was going to go on. It was a 10 o'clock game. There was a 20-minute delay because of like a shot clock thing. Game did end, I think, around like 1:15. So I do apologize that I am around 20 minutes late or so. We're going to get into this post game show. We'll go over some of these quarter notes, and then I'll open up the show to any comments, questions, overall thoughts with this game. If you guys have any thoughts on this game, definitely drop it live in the YouTube chat if that's where you are watching right now. But let's get into today's episode. It's actually Sunday, which is kind of wild because this is my second podcast today. If you guys caught our podcast earlier this morning with Wes Davenport, definitely check it out if you haven't. But no Sasser, no Marcus Sasser in this one. He's dealing with hip impingement. Don't really know when he's going to come back. Did want to update you guys on that. Cade and Jalen Duran connection. I think that was just the story of this entire game. If you looked at the Dallas Mavericks and their front court and the injury, no Anthony Davis, no Derek Lively, they did have Daniel Gafford, and they did have Dwight Powell in this game. Excuse me. It was just a thing where the Pistons looked to get JD involved early. And I thought it was just the right decision, right game plan by JB Bickerstaff and the Detroit Pistons. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of Jalen Duran this year. Really aggressive Jalen Duran. JB had mentioned it in the last post-game interview against the Orlando Magic that they're really trying to involve Jalen Duran more. And you saw it. He had 10 points in this game in the first quarter. Did get 2 early fouls. I hated to see that because I felt like Dallas really didn't have an answer for Jalen Duran just on the glass. They couldn't really contain him. This game was such an up and down just battle. I was really nervous. Dallas actually had a lead in this one at the end of the first quarter. It was 30-27. The transition defense was pretty bad. So was the half court defense in the first, but Pistons only trailed by 3, which was a good thing because we've started a lot of these first quarters very sluggish, very slow. Still one of the worst first quarter teams in the NBA. But going into the second quarter, Dallas did get a small lead, and this was probably a really weird quarter because the Pistons just were getting out hustled on the offensive glass by Dallas. And Pistons go on a 12-0 run. Duran came back in as soon as that happened. As soon as they got on the run, it was because of Jalen Duran. It was because of Cade Cunningham and others. They made stops, but then Dallas went on a run. They took a timeout. Dallas went on the run, and they come back into this game. And they had a 2-point lead going into halftime, 61-59. Apparently, Tobias Harris, excuse me. Wow, that was a tongue twister. Tobias Harris got hurt. There was a tweet from the Detroit Pistons PR department that he was questionable to return in the game. He had an ankle injury. We'll have to keep an eye on that because the Pistons do play the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday. But he still played a majority of this game, which was a good sign to see. And D'Angelo Russell had his best game of the season. He's been struggling a lot this year. He dropped 31 points in this one. I really thought that D'Lo was really going to help the Dallas Mavericks actually win this game. Third quarter was just an uphill battle for the Pistons, but Mavs had a 93-87 lead. And the fourth quarter, I thought the way that we were defending really helped us win this game. We're playing the passing lanes quite a bit. Javonte Green, one of the very first plays in the fourth quarter, was playing the passing lanes, got a dunk. He had a big 3. And then Pistons defensively, I think, were a little bit more active. Duran was huge down the stretch. He really was. Him and Cade Cunningham. Cade hit a big 3. And the Pistons win this one. They beat the Dallas Mavericks in Mexico City 122. Hold on, I had the final score. I don't remember the final score at the top of my head. 122-110. So that's the final score. Pistons improved to 4-2 in 6 games so far this season. You kind of look at the schedule. Cleveland was a very ugly game on Monday. You beat Orlando in dominant fashion, and you take care of business tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Was this the prettiest game? Absolutely not. They were just possessions where I thought we were just going to get behind. But I do want to go over the box score. See that we do have some comments in the chat, and then I'll open up the show to Q&A. I just want to kind of go over the box score with you guys because I thought the box score was so huge. So if we look at the box score, you look at the scoring, everyone was in double figures. Tobias Harris had 11 points tonight, 6 rebounds. Didn't have the best shooting night from the floor, still made 80% of his free throws. He was a +8 in this one. Duncan Robinson, back-to-back games with Duncan Robinson having an impact in the scoring department, and that is huge. I think if the Detroit Pistons want to keep this winning streak up, you're going to have Duncan Robinson at least give you 14 to 15 points on a nightly basis, in my personal opinion. He had 18 points in this one, 6 rebounds, 6 out of 11 from the field, shot 50% from 3 out of 6, and he was a +19 in this one. So shout out to Duncan Robinson. Jalen Duran, to me, the MVP of the night. In 29 minutes, he had 33 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Shot 13 out of the 16 from the field and 7 out of 8 from the free throw line. So another game where he got to the free throw line quite a bit, and he was a +28 in this one. Cade Cunningham, man, holy crap. He's been just playing such good basketball. Had 21 points in this one, 6 rebounds, 18 assists, you guys. 18 assists by Cade Cunningham. Also had 3 steals in this one. 1 turnover. And the 1 turnover was at the end of the game with the shot clock violation. That was the 1 turnover. Cade Cunningham didn't have the best shooting performance, 7 out of 16 from the field, but the 18 assists was just beautiful tonight. And Jalen Duran was a big beneficiary of those 18 assists. Those two, just the chemistry, the connection that those two have, it's undeniable. It's beautiful to see. Star Thompson in this one had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 6 out of 12 from the field. Did make a corner 3. Was really happy to see him hit that corner 3. 2 out of 6 from the free throw line. Free throws are probably something we're going to get into after we're done looking at this box score. Stu did his thing today. 10 points, had a really big block, had 2 blocks in this one. Ron Holland gave the Pistons some energy, rebounding, getting some steals. Javonte Green just made an impact. I feel like he just hits timely threes in this one. Karis LeVert, second game back, only played 18 minutes, had 5 points, 2 assists in this one. But overall, I mean, you just kind of look at Cade Cunningham and you look at Jalen Duran, Duncan Robinson. They all had a really big impact in tonight's game. If we're looking at the box score, not the box score, excuse me. This is the team stats. So Pistons shot 49.5% from the field. That's kind of a theme with them. Only 9 out of 24 from 3, so 37.5% from 3. The free throws, I think, were a thing where, like, if we lost this game, you could probably point to the Pistons not capitalizing on their free throws. They only made 67% of their free throws tonight. They had 47 rebounds. The assist, 29 assists. I was really happy with the turnovers. Only 8 turnovers in this one. That's probably the best game so far this season in terms of just taking care of the basketball. You can live with 8 turnovers all day. But this was just a game where the Pistons dominated in the paint. Points in the paint. You guys look at that. 72 points in the paint. You can thank Jalen Duran for a majority of his points in the paint tonight. But the Pistons have just been a dominant team in the paint. But I do want to kind of get into just comments, questions, overall thoughts with this one. So we will open up the show to the Q&A. I'm just going to go over these comments real quick, you guys. We do have a couple starred, and we'll get into it. So I'm going to go to Michigan Made. Caden Duran did amazing. Duran with 33 points, 11 rebounds. in 29 minutes. Cade with 18 assists, and his only turnover is when he held the ball to run the clock out in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it when we're looking at the stats. I mean, Cade and Duran tonight, that connection is just getting better with each game. The chemistry is off the charts. Cade was looking for Jalen Duran early, and I think that was the right strategy by the Pistons coaching staff to take advantage of Dallas injuries. No Anthony Davis, no Derek Lively. You had Daniel Gafford in there starting, and he just really had a hard time containing Jalen Duran, even Dwight Powell for that matter. But you love to see that 1-5 game from your point guard and your starting center. Got a comment from Rocky. Dallas tried to run this game, but found out the hard way that it wasn't sustainable for 48 minutes at that altitude. Yeah, I mean, like they were mentioning on the broadcast about the altitude. I kind of felt like I was looking at Asar and he just looked absolutely gassed. I mean, the only other arena where altitude is a factor is usually in Denver, but this was a neutral game in Mexico City, Mexico tonight. And I think the altitude not only was bothering, you know, players on the Pistons, but you saw players on the Mavericks as well. Looked a bit winded just from the altitude tonight. But yeah, Dallas has played a scrappy game. I'm sure once they do get healthy, if they do get healthy at all, I feel like every time I look at a injury report with them, they got like 5, 6 guys on the shelf. But I mean, they'll be okay. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs this year. Maybe they can sneak as a play-in team when Kyrie Irving does come back. But I mean, man, that was a game where I was really nervous, especially when D'Lo started making those 3-point shots. I'm not even going to lie to you guys right now. Duran was the best player on the floor for either team tonight on a night when Cade had 18 assists and 1 turnover. Yeah, I mean, Duran looked great. He's been looking to score more often, which I love to see from Jalen Duran. I really do. Um, and it's just kudos to him. Kudos to the coaching staff to putting the ball in his hands a little bit more and putting him in positions to succeed. In my opinion, we do have a comment that I kind of want to get into because this was a home game for the Detroit Pistons. Now they're going to have like one less home game. That's why you heard John Mason do the intros. That's why the Detroit Pistons entertainment team was there tonight. But yeah, I mean, when you do bid on these games, I think it's good for the league. It's good for international fans. As you guys know, we have a lot of international fans. I mean, we just had Tom have a generational run from Korea. We had Pistons Jack last year from Australia. I mean, the Pistons are a pretty big international fan base, I will say. I mean, I see, Pistons Brazil all the time on my timeline. I see Pistons Argentina. I mean, so there are a lot of Detroit Pistons fans that are international. And I think at some point you will see a Mexico City NBA team. I don't know when it's going to be, but I feel like the NBA is really just kind of dipping their toe in the international game. Got a comment from J Hart. I said it before. I'll say it again. JD, 20 a night. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, if he's giving you a good 15 to 20 a night on a nightly basis, you're going to be a pretty good basketball team. Now, I mean, I do want to add context. Now, does Jalen Duran have 33 if Anthony Davis is out there? I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not gonna take this game away from him because career high 33 points. He looked great out there. He's looked very aggressive. They mentioned on the broadcast that we're only 6 games into the season, and he's already had 3 20-point games. He's looking to score more, which I think is honestly needed without Jade Ivey in your starting lineup. You're looking for that secondary option right now. Some nights it might be Jalen Duran. Other nights it might be a Duncan Robinson. Right now you're just looking for that number 2. And out of the half the games, Jalen Duran has scored 20 points. He's getting to the free throw line, quite a bit. So it'll be really interesting to see if Jalen Duran can keep this clip up of one, getting to the free throw line, and two, keep scoring the basketball the way he is. Um, can anyone tell me why Cooper Flag got a better whistle than Cade? This shit is becoming so frustrating. Like, damn, what do we got to do for a whistle? I felt like the game, for the most part, the way it was officiated was okay. But then in the like final 4 minutes, he was getting to the free throw line like crazy. I don't know what it is, man. I feel like Cade is such a big point guard that a lot of these officials just don't even see the way he gets like, whether it was like the Jalen Suggs thing where he got poked in the eye, or he gets elbowed, or we've seen the scratches on his arm. Cade does get beat up. I just don't think the refs call it because he's a big body point guard. Like if he was like a Jalen Brunson, he'd probably be getting to the free throw line like 10 to 12 times a night. But Cade's not a flopper like that. He really isn't. Matty Fresh, Grizzlies will be coming off a back-to-back. They will. I believe they play the Toronto Raptors, I want to say. So, the Grizzlies are kind of weird right now. Probably saw the Ja Morant stuff. He got suspended, so he will be suspended for that one Toronto Raptors game. Now, does he come out with a vengeance and try to prove to the world that he's still Ja, like he's still a good player? Have to wait and see. Kind of seems like there's a little bit of turmoil there with the coaching staff, with the loss to the Lakers. I mean, he wasn't even in the huddles, Maddie. So I don't really know what's going on with John Moran. It's just kind of been a weird situation with the Grizzlies and him. Would be nice to take slash hit more threes, but there's something to be said about sticking to an interior bully ball identity, especially if you're good at it. It's kind of been the Pistons' MO this season of like they're going to live in the paint. And when you have a guy like Jalen Duran, who I think has actually improved this year, finishing around the basket and the way that he does get to the free throw line, I think it's a good identity to have. Now you have guys that I think can hit threes. I think we're still trying to figure out where Duncan likes to have the ball. Karis LeVert is still kind of, coming back. This was only his third game, and we're 6 games in. I expect him to get a little bit in better rhythm. His shots, I wasn't like in love with the selection tonight, but I'll just attribute that to his third game. Maybe he needs to get more comfortable with the second unit. He was kind of playing backup guard out there tonight, but if they're just going to play bully ball, live in the paint, and JD's getting to the free throw line, he's hitting a really good clip at his free throws this year so far. Very early on in the season. I mean, why not just dominate and play bully ball in the paint? Why not do it? Second half defense looked different from the first half. Active hands, played the passing lanes, hands up in the lane, perimeter rotation, still bad, but they can be cleaned up. That's what I was, kind of talking about in a couple post game podcasts. Where like when you look at the numbers, the Pistons are technically like a top 10 defensive team, like net rating wise, right? And we come up here and we're nitpicking defense, but they're still in the top 10. And there's areas and improvement for them to get better. Like they have not played their best basketball. Like tonight could have been a game where they lost 100%. But it's great to see that they're improving. This was a team where it didn't really hit its stride until I thought like 2025 last year. There were games where, defensively, it just wasn't there. I think they're starting to, get better at it, and you love to see it. Shout to Tom. I don't know what time it is over there in Korea, Detroit basketball. Shout to you, Tom, man. Shout to you. Get to a couple more comments and questions with you guys. Jalen Duran is scoring this easily, will help Ivy ease into things. He won't feel pressure to score 20 plus until he's fully back healthy. Yeah, I mean, like if Jalen Duran is still giving you like what he's giving you currently, like let's just say he's averaging around 15 to like 17 points a game when Ivy does eventually come back from his right knee procedure. Um, I think the Pistons will bring Ivy back very slowly. I don't think he's going to be inserted into the starting lineup right away. They'll probably have him on a minute restriction. That might just bring him off the bench and slowly ease him into the starting lineup. But I mean, I think right now you're trying to figure out who can be that number two option next to Cade Cunningham. As of right now, it's been Jalen Duran. It's been Jalen Duran because he's given you 20 points out of these. We've played 6 games. He's done it half the time. He's done it in 3 games. So, I mean, it's a thing where, you know, the Pistons and JB Bickerstaff are trying to figure out who can be that number 2 option in the absence of Jaden Ivey, who, if you want to go by the numbers last year, was giving you 17 points a game, and he was technically the number 2 option for 30 games. But we're going to have to wait and see what does happen. This is awesome. What up, though? From Germany and a Pistons diehard since the mid-90s. Good win tonight, Detroit basketball. I love to see it. I love to see all the international fans come in here, tap on in with these post-game podcasts. Don't even know what time it is over in Germany. It's around 2 a.m. as we're doing this podcast right now, but love to see the international fans. We got Tom in here. We got people from Germany. But, man, this is it's just cool to see all these Pistons fans come together. Got a comment from T. I didn't think they would be 4-2 with the toughest schedule in the league. I mean, yeah, if you're going with the schedule with teams, I think I saw like a stat saying like the Pistons had the toughest schedule based off of last season's records. It just kind of shows you in these games, like they have not been pretty wins. They haven't really been like outside the Orlando game, really. I think there's a lot of stuff they can clean up offensively. And that's great because you're still finding ways to win basketball games. And that's what winning organizations do. Like nights like tonight, I thought like Dallas was going to win this game for a majority of like the second and third quarter. I thought D'Lo was just going to kind of carry them out, but you know they found a way to win. Jalen Duran gave them great minutes all night. Cade Cunningham was just really distributing the basketball. But I mean, I don't even think they're playing their best basketball yet. And that is crazy to think about. What do you think the Pistons should do with their roster? Stay as is or make a splash with the trade? Personally, I'm going to kind of take a cop-out answer. I would like to evaluate a little bit more just because you look at our schedule in November. I think the Pistons have a very good chance of at least winning 10, maybe 11 games in November. And I would probably have more of a concrete answer for you. As of right now, 6 games in, I think that you can make upgrades to this roster. It just depends what the market is. I don't really know what the market is right now. But Trajan had mentioned that if there is areas for them to improve, he will, address those. I do think the Pistons will make a trade at the deadline. I don't know what that is going to be. I just don't. Whether that is more scoring, whether it's more 3-point shooters, I don't know. Right now, you're 2 games over 500. Had a good win against Dallas. You got the Grizzlies on Monday, the Jazz on Wednesday. You play 4 games this week. I think you got the Nets and then the Sixers. So you could have a very good week, and the Pistons could be, looking at the top of the Eastern Conference standings in the first couple of weeks of the NBA season. But I really don't know what they're going to do. Don't know if they'll make a splash. They might make some marginal upgrades. Trajan kind of, to me, as a general manager, is a very cautious, careful person. Unless the deal is just so good you can't pass it up, he might make a quote-unquote splash. But, I mean, it would really have to be an offer where the organization feels very confident and they feel like they have that window. But I think for this team, they're still in evaluation mode. and they're still seeing what they need long term to this roster. But I mean, I think you're in a really good spot right now. Yeah, and Rocky kind of mentioned it. We still need shooting, or someone needs to improve the three ball. Don't know if we can keep winning games like this being a non-threat from distance. And that's a great point. They talked about that on NBC that like we haven't really been the three-point shooting team that we were last year. And obviously it was going to be really hard to replicate Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr.'s volume. They accounted for 40% of the Pistons three-point shooting from last season. Duncan Robinson is getting more in rhythm, back-to-back games of scoring 15 plus points. But you're going to need Karis LeVert to start hitting threes. Tobias Harris, I think, is shooting around 34% from three. So I think you'd still need more three-point shooters. Now, whether that comes from Karis, whether that comes from someone that is developing, maybe Ron can start developing more of a three-point shot. I don't think Asar is going to be that three-point shooter that you're looking for, but it's a good sign that he is taking more of those three-point shots that he wasn't taking last year. But it is going to be difficult to, beat teams if you're not hitting your three-point shots, because I thought that was something that really worked last season. That was a recipe that I thought that the Pistons surrounded Cade with floor spacers and Malik and Tim Hardaway and even Dennis Schroeder at the deadline. But I think it's just an adjustment period with this team, and they're still learning each other on the fly in their form too. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen with this team. It's still very early on, in my opinion. Cade is sacrificing scoring for the betterment of the team, making the right plays, and having fewer turnovers. And that's something about Cade that we've talked about personally, where if Cade wants to score, he can get you 30. If Cade wants to get you 10 assists tonight, he can. What I've been impressed with is these past two games. In two games is a very small sample size, but Cade Cunningham's turnovers have been pretty low these past two games. The one turnover tonight was just a thing where he was letting the ball, or he was letting the shot clock expire, late clock in the fourth quarter. So technically, he really didn't turn the ball over when it mattered. I think he's starting to understand where to pass the ball, not getting trapped as much. I think you really saw that early on against the Cavs. You saw it in, other losses that we did have this year. But I think Cade is also learning his new teammates. He's learning to facilitate, find Jalen Duran, find Tobias, find Asar. And honestly, I think it's great because Cade is still developing. Cade is still learning, and that's your number one option. I mean, he's the head of the snake on this basketball team. So I've been really impressed with Cade Cunningham, and that's something that I've always really liked about Cade is he can turn on the playmaking hat, and he can also turn on the scoring hat when you need him to. Get to a couple more comments and questions, and I'll probably wrap this up. Ben Foe, probably the funniest comment I've saw tonight. Jalen Duren versus Jaren Jackson. Who gets 5 fouls first? Oh man, I'll probably bet on Jaren Jackson. I know betting is kind of like we don't like to talk about it too much when we're talking about the Pistons, but I mean, like Jaren Jackson, man, he gets in foul trouble so much. Jalen Duren is a situation where like he's so valuable to the team, Ben. Like I really wish he just wouldn't, fall for ticky tack fouls so much. But I who gets 5 first? I really don't know. I would probably say Jared Jackson though if I did have to guess. He's so bad. I'll do a few more comments and questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Are you worried about Cade's jumper at all? Not really. I'm not too worried about it. I think he'll get there. I know some people had brought it up on the podcast we did earlier about like, we'd like to see his 3-point percentage go up a little bit more. Um, I think once Cade gets a little bit more comfortable with new teammates, and I know I've said new teammates probably like 1,000 times on this podcast, but he gets more familiar with Duncan, gets more familiar with Karras out there. I mean, there was a lineup tonight where they played. I wrote it down. It was a two big lineup with Duran, Stu, Levert, Ron, and Cade, I believe. It was a pretty weird lineup. Oh, Cade actually wasn't out there. I don't even know why I said that. Um, I'm not really worried about it personally, but I think overall Cade will be fine. It's still really early on in the season. I'll do one more question, and then we're gonna wrap this up because I am dead ass tired, you guys. I am dead ass tired. Happy daylight savings. Oh man, is it really daylight savings today? Oh man, it is. That's just such a pointless thing. I don't even know why we're talking about daily savings on the podcast. I'll let Rocky have the last comment on this one. I don't want them settling for threes. Cade still gets to his spots when he isn't getting trapped. They'll eventually go in and he'll have his run. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned with Cade. I'm really not. The way he's just facilitating, the way that he's gotten better at addressing the double teams, the blitzes. I think he's done a really good job. But I'm going to wrap up this podcast, you guys. I'm dead ass tired. I probably have drinking too much coffee tonight to stay up for this podcast. But I appreciate you guys coming on in, watching. My computer says 1 a.m., but I know it's 2 a.m. because it's daylight savings. But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the international love. Had someone from Germany in here tonight. Had Tom in here. Had Jay Hart. Had our regulars in here. So I appreciate all you guys. We're going to be doing a Pistons versus Memphis Grizzlies pregame show. That will get released on Monday. And we're going to try to book a podcast with, a Jazz reporter, with the Brooklyn Net reporter, and affiliate Philadelphia 76ers podcaster / reporter this week. I'll try to. No guarantees with that. So if there isn't a pregame show, it's just because they didn't reach back out or they ghosted me. That does happen a lot. Trying to book these, podcasters, these guests. But appreciate you guys watching tonight. And as always, go Pistons. Have a good night, you guys. Peace.